Hi everyone, Trista McIver here, Program Advisor here at AMC NPO Solutions. I talk with many organizations weekly regarding their strategic planning facilitations and board governance as well. And a topic that has come up many times is member management. So some organizations, as you know, have a membership that expires and needs to be renewed periodically, and there's other organizations that have an annual renewal. So what they're asking for is a way to manage these members. So I've invited Stephen Foley today from Membership365. He's the co-founder, and we're going to chat with him today and ask a few questions about what kind of software associations can look for. Stephen, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. No problem. What's a common problem you see associations face when it comes to managing members?
The biggest problem that we're seeing is just the fact that they work in a world of disparate data. So nothing's really connected. They're using many different softwares. They may have a homegrown database, and they probably live in really nothing that connects all these data sources together so that they can make sense of all of the information they've captured over time on their members. So typically starts there, and then that ensues through to, it's just simply no automation. And in 2020, it's really time to look at how you can automate some aspects of your business, and specifically where we see the common pitfall is using a spreadsheet to run your renewal season. And that just means you're simply manually going after members to renew, where that's a workflow in a business process that can be very easily automated. And then typically these two challenges lead to the third one, and essentially they're spending so much time in their data that they are not spending enough time managing, or I should say engaging members and adding value to membership. And really that's where the focus and attention should be, is making sure your members are receiving value for the fees they're paying to join your organization or to join your association.
So what should associations be looking for when it comes to investing in a member management software?
So we recommend that it has to start with the champion internally. If you don't have somebody who's going to take the lead and be the lead in evaluating software, it tends to take a longer time, or it might result in the wrong choice being made. So right away, if you haven't identified that champion internally, to us, that's the first thing that should happen. Once you have that person in place, and before you even reach out to a company like Member365 or competitors, assess your landscape. Take an inventory of what software you're using and understand what the shortcomings are of the software and be ready to talk about them. Because if you're planning to move, then we want to make sure that we can address the shortcomings, address those requirements for you. And often we have a hard time getting that out of a prospect when we take an initial call with them. So we really want to get to the bottom of whether the product's a right fit. And if it's not, then we're happy to admit we're not the right fit and save everyone's time and move on, because we can't be the right fit for every association. So you're in position to articulate your business requirements. If you know what your hard requirements are, bring those when you come looking, because there's a lot of conversations you can have. There's a lot of vendors that serve the space, and if you just take a loosey-goosey approach, and it's going to be really hard for you to compare one vendor against the next.
Thank you. So what specific member engagement tools do you offer, and do those include member needs surveys?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a survey tool, and there's also a voting tool. They're essentially the same type of feature. Voting makes it anonymous. The survey would be not. So we certainly do have that type of tool to engage your members. But beyond that, there's just a wide variety of things built into Member365 that will help keep engagement alive. And it does start with, once again, linking back to that process of automating renewals. The way we've created our system is to do that heavy lifting for you and engage your members well in advance of the deadline that, hey, you can renew today. You don't have to wait for the cutoff date. And by automating this, you're able to continue to poke members who don't renew leading up to that renewal date automatically. So there's a level of engagement there that we bring in through automation. And then there's a number of other things like surveys and voting, ability to file share, set up committee spaces, workspaces, which are more general themes, discussion forums, directories. And of course, we allow you to run events through Member365. And for any associations that run a continuing education program or deliver online training material, we also have modules that can help with the heavy lifting in regard to delivering those types of services and engaging members. So it's one thing to have these tools that will allow you to engage, but ultimately you want to know, are they paying off? Is the investment paying off? And what we've done here, and what makes us a little different from some of the competitors, is we've created an engagement score for every contact, in fact, that you save to the Member365 database. And what we're doing is tracking all of their interactions with you. So whether they're opening an email or registering to come to an event or just simply logging into the member portal, we're tracking and scoring your members so that you're able to understand the health of your membership. Do we have a highly engaged group of members? Is there a subset that are not engaged? Can we find them? Because finding them allows you to then be very targeted and strategic in any kind of follow-up communication. Folks who aren't engaged are likely risk of churning and not renewing with you. So it's smart to be able to identify who they are, be able to send them different emails or even pick up the phone and call them and get them engaged, get them out to an event.
Great. Thank you. So that kind of leads into my next question. What kind of results have your clients had?
Yes, so the biggest one, of course, is just the freeing of time. So you can imagine if you're using multiple disparate software pieces, you're using something to run your events, you're using something to run your email marketing, you're probably using a spreadsheet to run your membership and see who your contacts are. You're going to spend a lot of time in those worlds digging for your data and then trying to bring it together. So by moving to a platform that has an all-in-one flavor to it, you're able to really free a lot of time. And specifically, we've seen for a renewal process a move away from a team of, let's say, 2 to 3 staff who would be instructed to start the renewal process, start, licking stamps and sending snail mail out. It's still done today. And it's very time consuming. And then you wait for those checks to come in. There's no facility to pay with a credit card. So by moving this online and automating this, you essentially are left with just acting as the gatekeeper, the custodian. You're not really managing it anymore. You're letting the product, you're letting the software do the management for you. And then you have access to the reporting to see how that renewal process is turning out. So we've seen a huge return on investment from a team of 2 to 3 staff to one person who logs in and checks out the reports. Huge savings.
Right.
The other result we've seen is just a move off of the higher end enterprise software. We're a new breed of software that's called software as a service, or SaaS. And it's still relatively new, and associations are generally used to buying from enterprise players and paying enterprise fees. And a lot of the software hasn't been accessible to the smaller organizations. So what we're seeing are some of the larger, mid-sized associations actually moving off of the higher enterprise software, where they're paying 6 figures every year to maintain that database, and coming in at a price point well under, in around 5K, kind of at our upper end per year. So we've seen some tremendous savings just in terms of funds that go towards the software.
So I guess maybe that's leading into the next question. So why do your customers choose you over other software?
I mean, so price can be a piece of that, and our prospects are delighted to hear we don't charge onboarding or setup fees. So it really depends on the size of organizations, the size of the association. Some are not as budget constrained as others. Kind of our sweet spot, they tend to be constrained. They tend to not have huge budgets. So they take a lot of delight in the fact that we do not charge for any onboarding or setup fee. I don't know if that's necessarily the reason why they're picking us. And I tend to think, and based on what we're told, is they're choosing us because it's an all-in-one platform. So there's no need anymore to have all these, numerous third-party systems running different aspects of your operations. Now you can do it from that one central dashboard, that one central admin area. And then the other reason why people would choose us over our vendors is we spend a lot of time in building up a very strong contact record management system. We're cognizant that associations do not deal only with members. They have all different types of relationships, from volunteers to sponsors to speakers. And what we've done is we've built a way for them to manage all of their relationships in our software and have a fairly robust contact record management system to find their relationships, to find their contacts based on criteria and segments and categories and demographics, things that they may have collected over time on their relationships.
Okay, great. Thank you. So how can our audience learn more?
Lots of ways to learn. So first and foremost, our website, www.member365.com, is going to give you the overview, the general look into what the product does. But most people tend to either book a demo where they can get that personalized conversation, talk about the requirements, map that out to how the product can solve those challenges, or they don't have time for that, so they're going to go off to our webinars, which we run every month, and there's a catalog of them that have been recorded over time. And for the folks who like to, watch video to learn, there's a nice archive there and upcoming webinars they can register into. And then finally, we write a blog. Every week we release a new article. It covers everything from just tactics, how to use the product, to more strategies, articles that may not have anything to do with Member365, that just discuss, how to write a proper email, or what does a good survey look like, for example.
Great.
All of this is accessible off the website. So your first point of access to learning about Member365 is through www.member365.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, Stephen.
Woohoo! Good morning, but if I don't slot it off, and I can get booked into that pretty quickly.
Okay. Yeah. Send me your link, and then I'll pick something, and then you be ready. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be ready. I will be ready. I will take a shower, comb my hair. Yeah, just get into the right room where there's the right light.
I don't have everything memorized. By then, hopefully, I won't be reading off papers. But I put them out so you can't really see them. So, anyway. So would you like to just run through it and see how we go? Yeah,
let's just take a crack at it.
Now, I promise this will not be live. This will not go on. Space. Okay, that's fine. So stop video.